Welcome to Exam Sales Microsoft Azure Fundamentals Study Guide. In this video, we'll break down the syllabus of the Microsoft Azure Fundamentals exam, covering the key domains, topics, and skills you'll need to master. By the end of this video, you'll have a clear understanding of what to expect and how to prepare for the exam. The Microsoft Azure Fundamentals exam is divided into three main domains, each covering a specific set of skills and knowledge. The first domain, Describe Azure Architecture and Services, accounts for 40% of the exam and focuses on core architectural components, compute, networking, storage, and identity services. The second domain, Describe Azure Management and Governance, accounts for 35% of the exam and focuses on tools for management, cost optimization, governance, and monitoring. The third domain, Describe Cloud Concepts, accounts for 25% of the exam and focuses on fundamental principles of cloud computing and service models. The Describe Azure Architecture and Services domain covers four main topics: Azure Core Infrastructure, Azure Compute and Networking, Azure Storage Services, and Azure Identity and Security. In this domain, you'll learn about Azure regions and region pairs, availability zones, sovereign regions, and Azure resources and resource groups. You'll also learn about Azure Compute services such as virtual machines and scale sets, Azure App Service, and Azure Container Instances. Additionally, you'll learn about Azure Storage services such as Azure Storage Accounts, blob storage, disk storage, and files. In the Azure Core Infrastructure topic, you'll learn about the hierarchy of resource organization, including subscriptions, management groups, and resource groups. You'll also learn about Azure networking services such as Azure Virtual Networks, Subnets, VPN Gateway, and ExpressRoute. In the Azure Compute and Networking topic, you'll learn about Azure Kubernetes Service, AKS, Azure Virtual Desktop, and Azure DNS. In the Azure Storage Services topic, you'll learn about Azure Storage Redundancy Options, data transfer options like AZ Copy and Storage Explorer, and Azure Disk Storage. In the Azure Identity and Security topic, you'll learn about Microsoft Entra ID, formerly Azure AD, authentication methods including MFA and passwordless, external identities and guest access, conditional access, Azure Role-Based Access Control, RBAC, and the Zero Trust model. The Describe Azure Management and Governance domain covers three main topics: cost management in Azure, Azure governance and compliance, and management and monitoring tools. In this domain, you'll learn about factors that influence costs in Azure, the pricing and TCO calculators, Azure cost management and billing, and Azure reservations. You'll also learn about Azure policy and policy initiatives, resource locks, the Service Trust Portal, Microsoft Purview for data governance, Azure blueprints, and compliance offerings in Azure.